Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday morning, 11 o'clock on the East Coast. It's way earlier on the West Coast than I ever thought about when we scheduled this. Welcome, Pam Sherman.
I'm so happy to be here because I had so much fun talking with you on our podcast.
And for those of you who subscribe to the podcast or pay attention to it, you will have heard her that she is this week's episode, which is number 62. 64.
2 or 3?
64. Okay. I think mine are the odd numbers and my guests are the even numbers. I figure that way it's like I'm odd, right? So I can always remember which ones are mine. But we talked a lot about your story. We talked about, and we actually titled it, my podcast producer and best friend came up with the title, Training for Your Life, which you use. That's not your tag phrase. Your tag phrase is your health is your greatest wealth. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
And so I want to come in here today, just for a little while. We're not going to be like doing an hour-long teaching or anything, but you have been so kind to me and helpful to me. And we had such a fabulous conversation. I love to share with my audience what my guests actually do specifically, other than just their story, because their story is really good, but that sets us up for what they really do. So I wanted to give you the floor here for just a few minutes and let you kind of share a little bit about what you do, why you do it, and then maybe let's talk a little bit about the holidays.
Yes, I would love to. I would love to. Well, what I mostly do now is actually food coaching, as you know, with you. Is my whole career, 25 years, women want to lose weight. And it's never about the exercise, even though I'm a personal trainer and I love helping women work out. It is always about what they eat. So my clients now, they're not, I have one local. I just got done training him. He's 82-year-old Frank. He's still working out.
I love that story.
But for the most part, it's women all over. I have some, a couple gals in England and a couple gals in Switzerland in my Perfect Balance Tribe, my private Facebook group. But my one-on-one clients who I talk to once a week, I text with every day, it's really helping them figure out what is going to help them lose weight. And Andrea, so many great things about the internet, but there's too much information out there, and people want quick results. And I say it's like, if it took you a year to put on the weight, it's probably going to take you a year to take off the weight. There is no fast, quick, easy, quick fix ever, ever, ever. But nobody wants to hear that. I want it off. I want off tomorrow. So slow and steady wins the race, even though it's so frustrating because you're like, oh my God, I want to lose 5 pounds tomorrow. So it's really, my clients keep track for me on my Fitness Pal of their food. And then once a week, we go over their choices. And because I've been doing this for 25 years, I have all sorts of tips and tricks and suggestions for them. I create workout videos for my YouTube channel, The Perfect Balance, because I love teaching more than anything else in the whole world. And I'm working with a company that's coming out with a workout app, and I'll be creating workouts for them on their app. So more than just my audience can find me. Which is really fun. And I'm a coach on a couple different workout apps.
I was going to say, you're already on at least one workout app.
I'm on 3 right now, which is super cool.
So I'm just going to ask a question about how this how does that work? Do they pay you to be on those apps, or is this you building what we call like your free museum? Like your YouTube channel is your free museum, right? That's just where people can find you. Correct. They get to know you, and
with the apps that I'm on, they paid me to create workouts for them, and then I'm on their app forever. So yes, I am paid to do that.
So it's both.
Yeah. It's free, free for my own stuff. But when I'm using their equipment, they pay me to make out work, because most companies, they don't have anybody over 40 or 50 in there as their coaches. And I'm 54. And like, you need people my age, because people our age want to see older women working out.
Well, we want to see people that look like us, right? Last January, I started the free, there's an app. I don't remember which one it is. And most of the workouts are 10 minutes or less, right? And that's kind of your MO, right? I mean, I think you might have some that are longer, but the ones that I've done are all 10 minutes or less. And so I got on the app and I started doing them and did some HIT things. I don't know how to, like, I'm not a guru.
It's hit.
It did some hit workouts, some intervals and those kind of things. And they were good. But I got to tell you, looking at this perfect 22-year-old body, and able to do all those things is a little daunting for me. It was a little discouraging. I did not keep up with it. And it was one of those I had to pay a little bit each month. So I just turned it off.
Yeah.
And then I didn't do it.
But much to your credit, let's talk about this. We can talk about the holidays in a minute.
Okay.
Most women think they have to work out for a long time to lose weight. And that is a
Mm,
myth. 10
right.
minutes. If you did 10 minutes 5 times a week, that's 50 minutes as opposed to 0 minutes. That
Right.
is totally worth your time.
Right. And I'm doing it. Right. So, and just as a self-report, I did one this morning. I did the butts and guts one this morning, which is it kills my glutes. So, and for somebody who was called, bubble butt for years, that's just crazy to me that that everybody wants to have this like perfectly round thing. I'm like, no, we want to get rid of it. And it's like, just actually make it healthy. But so I did that one this morning, and it doesn't take long, and it's over quickly. And these are relatable videos. There's the other thing I want to say is that they're very relatable videos, right? You're in your backyard, I guess.
Yes. Yeah.
You're on your property.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that you have your own little putting green, which is really cool.
My husband's a big golfer. Yes.
Okay. And then I have a pool in my backyard, and I think you have a pool. So some of yours are by the pool. But the nice thing is they're not in this beautiful studio with everything perfect and all the sound equipment perfect. You can hear kids in the neighborhood. You can hear sirens going by.
Oh my God, always. I live on a busy street. And every time it happens, I'm like, I'm not going to start over. This is real life.
No, but you know what? You don't apologize for it. This is real. Those of us watching the videos, we can totally relate. We're like, oh yeah, that just happened to me. Or my dog I didn't know she's down here, and she's a beagle. And so she'll wake up and she'll shake. And so it's all real life, which Pam just adds to the whole atmosphere of it being real life that we can do, right? It means that doing the exercise on a regular basis and watching what we eat and being smart about our food, all those, they're not things that have to be in this special studio. They're not things that take a really long time. These are part of real life that you can just easily work into your day.
And that's why I try to do a lot of body weight only workouts, because I don't know what people have at home, and I don't want to hear, well, I didn't have the equipment, so I couldn't do it. I want to say 300 plus workout videos, and I would guess 75% of them are body weight only.
Mm-hmm. And trust me, you think body weight is not a big deal until you actually do the body weight. And then you're like, my body weighs a lot. This is hard.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and you're, like any other really good trainer, you give levels of how, we can do that. Try this one. If you can do more, do this one. If you can do even more, do this one. And there are some workouts where I am on the lowest one. And then there are some workouts where I move on up to either the middle or the highest one. So it's all good. And just it makes it very accessible, which then just adds to this ability to have you help us out in the food area, because I think food is one of those things that is, gosh, there's so much mindset involved. There's so much, there's so many like walls that we have built up and stories that we have in our minds. And you and I have had conversations about that. But being able to see that everything else is accessible, that means that you're not going to judge about food. You're not.
No. Although I have to tell you, I was just training Frank and his wife, Kathy, who just got done with stage 1 breast cancer radiation.
Oh,
and
fatigue.
No, they just told me they bought 2 boxes of See's candy, which is a big, it's the best candy out on the West Coast. 2 boxes, and they finish it all. And I'm like,
sorry, Frank, for like outing you on the internet.
Well, you just got done with cancer. You should not be eating sugar, let alone 2 boxes of sugar. And I'm like, I am the killer of joy, but I want you to live a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell y'all here, telling on myself, I have some little special Christmas cookies that we have in my house that are, they're the best if you need some ginger snaps. They're Niagara's. They're like they're 4 little kinds, but they're not super high in sugar. They're actually pretty low, and they're a real nice treat that are easy to do. in the evening, as an extra, but I'm really careful. I like make sure I know how many, and there's no eating 2 boxes for me. That's long gone with the gastric bypass,
Yeah.
but it's so easy for us to do that. We talk about eating our feelings, and I realized even just today that sometimes it's not just our feelings that we're eating; it's our inability to look at our own issues, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's easier to
um,
hide behind the food than to actually face what's going on.
yeah, and there's a reason we call it comfort food.
Yeah.
So what are the
Yeah.
biggest challenges that let's say we're in your Facebook community, right?
Yep.
So do you do special kinds of like what is the process like, and what does that community look like?
I have about 70 members, two brave men and the rest women. And I do once a week lives for 30 minutes talking about, and I usually ask, they're on Fridays, Thursday morning, like, what kind of topics do you guys need help with? Weekends, holidays, barbecues,
Mm,
special events. That's always it, as well as women are all or nothing. So I try to talk about that a lot. Like, just because you fell off track doesn't mean you have to go off the high dive into the pool.
yeah.
You don't, and my whole career, it's all or nothing. It's either I'm good
Mm,
or I'm bad. I'm like, food does not make you good or bad,
right.
but what do you want to accomplish? Everybody in the group wants to be healthier. My guess is 95% of them want to lose weight.
Mm,
We're in the middle of an 8-week challenge right now. I team up with another gal in Canada, actually, who's a hormone expert. And we do challenges probably 3 times a year together, where she'll give the meal plan and I do extra work, provide the workouts for the challenges. And that's really fun.
I am
Um,
curious. I have a gal in Canada who's hormone related nutritionist.
Karen Martell.
No, it's
Okay.
a different one. So that's so interesting, but go ahead.
So no, it's
Continue.
good.
I digress.
It's fun to team up because she does meal plans and I refuse to do that. And
Mm,
again, the killer of joy, because I want women to eat what they like.
mhm,
I don't want to tell you what to eat.
mhm.
Plus, I'm a very simple, most meals should focus around protein and fiber. That's it.
Which is great for me. Yeah.
I mean, please get the starchy carbs, the chips, crackers, cookies, C's candy. When you're
One piece.
trying, one piece is fine. 5 pieces is not.
Yeah.
So really, it's me supporting my tribe. I try to put in once a week workouts just for the tribe. There's a whole media section where they can go back, and I've done
Nice.
step, I've done kickboxing, I've done just a
Oh,
little bit of yoga. I mean, all sorts of things. And I love seeing them support each other. So when somebody does a great job, there's always comments like, "Oh my gosh, you're killing it. Great job."
mm,
Because I'm all about no nonsense, keep it simple,
mm.
and there does not have to be bells or whistles. I want you to work out. I want you to strength train. I want you to eat real food. And I want to support you along the way and help you on, if you have 5 parties this weekend, oh my God, what are you going to do?
Right. What do you do?
You
Because
don't have,
so let's transition into
yeah,
that, because
yeah,
we have like I have a thing potentially tonight. I have a thing Saturday. I have a thing next Wednesday,
yeah.
and then I'm at the in-laws for Christmas,
Oh
and
gosh.
yeah, so which is they're precious, beautiful people. But when you're not in your house, when
Yep.
there's a dynamic, and then I think I have a light holiday schedule for parties. I think other people have it heavier. So what do you do? What kind of advice do you give?
Well, I think before you go, if you drink, you have to determine how many drinks you're going to have.
Okay.
Because I think most people, if they get past that point, say 2, then it goes into overeating, which this afflicted me my whole 40s. I don't drink anymore, but I would have a couple beers and then I eat so clean, there's nothing to soak up the beer. And that would send me to binging every time. Same thing with parties. There's all sorts of finger foods around. Is 2 your number? Is 1 your number? Is
Yeah.
3? And then make sure you're having water or seltzer water in between each one. So set your alcohol limit right.
Yeah.
Set that first. Now, if you don't know what's going to be at the party, I would say have a protein shake before you go, just so you don't go. You'd never want to go to a party hungry,
Okay.
because there's just yummy, delicious finger foods that you can eat all night long.
I went to my niece's, my sister's first grandbaby's coming, and so this was last Saturday. I went to her baby shower, and it was just she wanted all brunch food, and she's pregnant, for crying out loud, right? It's like whatever she wants, the mom
Yeah.
wants, she gets. And I was like, oh, I'm not eating here today. But that was okay. I mean, it was just like I chose, but I drank some coffee and I drank some water and I was good to go. But what about those of us who don't, like you said, you don't drink anymore? What about those of us who don't necessarily drink? You said protein shake. I'm bringing stuff to parties.
Yes.
And so sometimes I'll choose to bring the vegetable tray or the fruit
Yes.
tray.
I can't tell you how many times over Thanksgiving I had the conversation with my tribe is if you are hosting or if you're not hosting, bring a big salad, bring the veggie tray so
There's
there's at
something.
least there's something for you. If you don't know, that's when you want to have that protein shake because you don't want to go hungry. You're like, okay, I'm not going to starve. Peruse what's available and then think, what am I going to eat tonight that's going to make me feel good tomorrow?
That's a really good concept too. A lot of people talk about the tomorrow Andrea is going to thank last night Andrea. So how can I do something tonight that my tomorrow self is going to be really thankful for?
Yeah.
And we do that with in other areas. Like we talk about decision fatigue. So we'll like lay out our clothes or
Yeah.
we'll make choices about certain things. But when it comes to those kinds of celebratory, especially in the holidays, a lot of times there's so many stories in our minds and there's
Yep.
so much pressure to be like everybody else and to not stand out, that can be a little tough.
Well, it can be, and it's okay. I know this is very hard for women. It's okay to say no. It's a complete
I was
sentence.
going to say it's a complete sentence.
It is, and you can also pick depending on what your goals are. Now, let's say maintenance is your goal because nobody's going to lose weight this time of year. There's just too much going
Right.
on.
We just don't want to gain.
Do you love wine or do you love dessert? Because if you have them both, it's not going to be a good combination. That's so much sugar in your body,
Mm,
especially as we get older. You're not going to sleep well, and you're going to be tired the next day and not make good food choices because you're tired. And when you're tired, your brain wants sugar.
right.
So, what do you want? Do you want a yummy appetizer? Do you want the yummy dessert? You don't have to say yes to everything, and know that next year at this time, you're not going to remember what you ate. You're going to remember the people that you
The
were with.
people.
It's always about the experience and never
Yes.
about the people.
Did y'all hear that? You're not going to remember what you ate. Now, regardless of the fact that there's one recipe that I had at a Christmas open house every year that people are like, "Can I have your festive crostini recipe?" Now, granted, it was a fairly healthy. I mean, it was a really small crostini with some fat-free cheeses, with sun-dried tomatoes and olives, and I mean, that's lovely stuff, right?
Yeah. Yes.
But still, they're not going to remember that, and you're not going to remember that, and they're actually not going to remember that I didn't eat at the
Well,
baby
no.
shower.
Well,
They're right.
here's the thing though, Andrea, I find that people are uncomfortable if there's nothing in your hand. I was at a wedding in May and it was a drinking from 10 a.m. till 11 p.m.
Wow.
And a lot of times I didn't have something in my hand because I'm not going to drink 2 gallons of water in a day
It's a
or
long
bubbly
day.
water. But people are like, what can I get for you? What do you need? What do you need? So I think having something in your hand makes other people feel better, whether
Mm,
it's sparkling water with a lime or your coffee. But
yeah.
empty handed makes other people feel guilty for their food or alcohol choices.
So is that your best way of managing other people feel? Because I know we can't really manage that. I mean, I can't make you feel any way, but
Right.
it just the best way to present that is I'm protecting myself so that they don't feel guilty and like try to fix it? Is that, I mean, sorry, I'm
Well,
delving into the
no,
psychology here, but
that's okay. But I had probably 5 women say, "Why aren't you drinking?" And I
mm,
said, I after my accident, I just stopped drinking. I said, but I actually like myself so much better now.
mhm,
And I said, I used to binge every time I drank and I would have self remorse and regret and
yeah,
just self hatred. So for me, it feels better for me to do. And if they asked, I actually told them. If not, I'd be like, no, I'm not thirsty right now.
mhm,
But there is um, especially with people who are uncomfortable with their own selves,
yeah,
if you're not partaking, it makes them feel bad. And
yeah.
that's not my problem. It's not your problem. That's how they feel, which there's a ton of psychology behind that.
You need a coach. Um, right? It's like we need a coach. This is so when people say things like, I don't necessarily need some, I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. I don't need help, right? I
Every,
know
every
I just need to do it.
yeah.
What do we say to people who, I mean, I've been that person and You're discovering working with me that there's certain things that I really, it's like all the only thing, and I have this in my group as well. It's like the accountability aspect
Yeah.
is super helpful. So what about having somebody else at the party? What about having a wingman? What about having somebody else who says, I'm going to eat the same way you eat? Are those kind of things helpful as well?
I think it's hard to control that because if you're going to different parties, there's going to be
Okay.
different people. I just think you have to know that saying no often means saying yes to yourself and your health.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that because at the end of the day, we are 150% responsible for what we eat and drink. Nobody is shoving food in our mouth or alcohol in our mouth. That you have to know that what you're doing, it's up to you. And that's one thing you can't like say, oh, my mother-in-law maybe. No, you can say no to your mother-in-law. No, thanks. I'm
Yeah.
full. I'd rather not.
Yeah.
I would love the recipe. I would love to make this when I get home, but I'm full right now. I mean, there's so many different ways you can navigate situations, but you shouldn't apologize for saying no. I'm
This is
good.
a boundary conversation. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, because there's food pushers. We all know families are the worst, but there's also friend food pushers. I had a gal in my tribe who said she went out to lunch with her mother and her best friend. And she's telling them, hey, I'm on this journey. I've lost X amount of pounds. They're so excited for her. Time for dessert. Hey, do you want dessert? And she's like, no.
Did you hear me?
Why not?
Right. It's like my sister is allergic to apples and among other things, but she's just very allergic to apples. And she carries an EpiPen now because every time she comes in contact with a new thing, it's worse. And bless my mother's heart. I mean, she's no longer with us, but when this early on, when this started, she would just constantly like, why can't you, here's apples, or let's make apple pie, or
Stop it.
but it just didn't occur to her. So there was no intent to do harm, but a lot of times we don't want to take the time to think about what somebody else needs. And so even taking my niece and nephew apple picking to make apple pies and such, my sister, she would finally got to the place where she would wipe down the counters really good. And one year my sister came back over and somehow brushed up against, she hadn't done the underside of the counter.
Oh,
right.
wow.
So, but little things like that, we try to be really sensitive to to food allergies for people, but we don't want, and we're willing to say, this is a health issue. I can't do this. I mean, I can't drink alcohol because of my gastric bypass. I can't eat much sugar because of my gastric bypass. And I can use that as an excuse, right? But I don't want to, right? I don't want to have to defend myself to somebody else. And I don't want somebody else to have to defend themselves to me.
Yeah.
So modeling that behavior, I think, is really smart too.
Well, and I want to say, why do you care what I eat? I'm here to have the conversation with you. Why do you care? I mean, it shouldn't even be an issue.
Yeah. It shouldn't. It is.
It is. It is every single time. And it actually makes me a little bit crazy because I want women to feel empowered by saying no, or no thanks, or I'd rather not, or I'm on this great journey and I feel amazing.
Yeah.
No thanks.
And this is where, for those of you who pay attention to me, intentional optimism comes in, where we say, this is how we do what we do, right? So in order to be able to respond to somebody well in these kinds of situations and to say, no, thank you, we do that with kindness and graciousness, always assuming the best of that person, never assuming that they're trying to sabotage us. They might be, but not on purpose, right? So those kinds of things are the way we actually respond to people matters, and using wise words and being kind to ourselves and setting those boundaries so that we can be present. I have a sign that I can see here from my desk that says collect moments, not things. And that's the thing that we want to do, is collect moments through the holidays. It's really tempting to want to do other things and to participate with other people, but collecting the moments is the most important thing. So, Pam, do you have any last things to leave with us today?
What's funny, I was just telling my daughter, can you please get my charger? I have about 5 minutes left on my computer.
Because I was like, something's happening over there.
It's not at that point yet, but I know it's going to come up anytime. No, I love,
because I'll stay as long as you want to talk, but if you have to go.
No, I don't. She just got up. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't. That little thing on your computer where it's like,
it says
so
low power mode.
She just woke up. So I'm like, go find me a charger.
What a blessing.
Oh, yeah, it might be on my, okay. Anyway, I think you have to, on this journey, whether it's just to stay healthy, whether it's to get stronger, there are going to be people in your way all year long. And you have to be strong enough in your own conviction and stand up for yourself. And women are notorious. We take care of
Everybody
everybody
else
else.
first.
And a lot of women don't put themselves on their own calendar
Yeah.
because they think it's selfish. It's not selfish, it's self-care, which is
Yes.
self-love. And I
Mhm.
would say every time on the airplane, you don't put the oxygen mask on your kid first. You put it on you. So taking those 10 minutes, Andrea, that you're taking every 4 times a week, that's not
Mhm.
taking much out of your schedule.
No.
Planning out what you're going to eat, that does not take a lot of time. It's when you think, okay, I'll work out later. Okay, I'm not sure what I have, but I'll just do it later. That never works out well. So
Ever.
standing up for yourself and your health, you feel better. You feel empowered. You feel like, I got this. Oh my God, I worked out. I'm going to have the best day ever.
Yes. And, setting yourself up for that, even if it's, exactly when in the day you're doing them or exactly how you're going to do it. And I'm just going to plug my Fitness Pal.
Yep.
We're on the free version, right? I
Yep.
mean, they keep offering me the paid version.
You don't need the paid version ever.
But I'm on the free version.
Yep.
And so what happens is I can copy from one to another. And I don't know if you know this, but I don't do it on the phone. I do it a lot of times on my computer and on the desktop. I can copy from one day to the next or
Yep.
on all the meals, right?
Yep.
So that makes it really easy and really helpful. And so I find it to be a super easy app to use. I've used Noom for years, and that's also a great one where you can actually talk with a coach and that kind of thing. But the one piece about Fitness Pal that I don't think you can do with Noom is you can share your food diary with your friends. So even if you don't want to hire a coach or work with Pam, you can actually create accountability partners between friends and share that way. And a lot of times just knowing that somebody else is going to look at that, it's like, I'm going to put it down right.
And really, I can't even tell you how many clients say, I've actually thought about not writing it down or if I was going to go to hell. And I'm like, I can't help you unless I know what you're eating. 2 boxes of C's candy, Frank and his wife.
And it does have a little thing where you can scan the barcode if it's
Yep.
because I lose patience. I love technology. I mean, I don't understand it all, but I love it.
Yeah.
And for me to be able to just scan something, even if it's the package of green beans that comes from Lidl instead of Trader Joe's,
Yep.
or the barbecue sauce from Trader Joe's, whatever, it just makes it so much easier than I don't have to search it. My thumbs don't work great, so I don't have to type it. So all that is a really good opportunity. So anything else before we sign off today?
Well, I would say if people aren't women, your women that are watching this, if they are not happy with where they are mentally or physically, don't try to do all or nothing because it's going to be nothing every single time. I have a 5-minute playlist. I have a 10-minute playlist. Everybody should be walking every single day. I call that daily movement. But you need women, especially as we get older. Well, everybody does. We lose muscle. So strength training, you're never going to get big, bulky muscles, but you need to do a little bit of strength training a few times a week. And it's not going to be so crushing, like you're going to be so sore you can't get up your stairs, Andrea. It's going to make I have a little bit, I'm a little sore,
there's
but
a little bit in the obliques.
I feel good.
Yeah.
That a little bit does go a long way. And even if you don't want to hire a coach, start logging for yourself because every single client that I've had be successful logs. And when you do this, I think I'm doing a good job. You can't put blinders on. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, we have to keep track of our milestones. We have to look at our progress. I had a friend she says, you're walking up Everest, girl. You've got to turn around and look at how far you've come. And that's really, really important to remember. The other piece of that is just like, James Clear is one of my favorites, those atomic habits. Just 1 degree difference will change the trajectory of everything. And all those little tidbits are really helpful. And, I will say this, even if you start with the stretching videos, right? If you just start getting a little bit more flexible, because that means that you're paying attention to your body and you're starting to listen. And honestly, the stretching, it's not all just stretching. Some of it actually does a little bit of a workout for you.
I think if you're not used to moving, you don't know how great you can feel in your own skin.
Yeah.
And it's self-love. It's just, there's so many, our bodies, we should appreciate and love ourselves, which is why we start, when we talk, Andrea, every call with what did you do well? Because
Yeah.
every client wants to tell me all the bad things. You can't believe I did this and this. I'm like, hang on, hang on. I know there was a lot of good in your week. Tell me about the good. And they're like, so I often say, keep a sticky note on your counter. And did you drink water today? Write that
Yeah.
down. Did you do counter push-ups? Because we can all do push-ups on the kitchen counter.
I'm doing them.
Yes. Did you have vegetables with your meals? Like there's so many wins that we all do throughout the day that we don't even think about, but we sure do remember the bad, which
Absolutely.
it's
And this
human
is
nature.
where you and I as coaches are on the exact same page. It's like I have full on posts. What are your wins on Wednesday? And then in my group, it's like, what are your celebrations Saturday? And because we get success amnesia. I had another coach tell me that it's like success amnesia and we just forget. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really, really good point. And it's okay to celebrate yourself.
1,000% yes.
It is okay. It does not mean that we are braggadocious. It does not mean that we are arrogant or self-absorbed or narcissistic. It means that we're saying, I did this good thing. And so.
And for everything that you want to knock yourself about, you have to think about 3 good things.
We said we were going to drop some tidbits. It's just like confetti. All right. So you're going to have to go back through anybody listening to this on the replay. Just like take notes because I don't even know that we can put them all in here. So here's the deal. On my podcast, you can find where Pam is located. You can find all the different handles that she uses on all the different social media, but theperfectbalanceguru.com.
Perfectbalance.guru is my website.
Perfectbalance.guru. So my husband's doing another dot something or other else for something that he's doing. And I just didn't know there was a dot guru. I love that. So perfectbalance.guru. She's on Facebook. She's on Instagram. And Lordy, she's on TikTok. So go find her. And I think between the two of us, we can say, please have a safe, healthy holidays. Please let either one of us know if you need encouragement or help. Reach out. I can attest to the fact that she's available. She is interested and she is generous.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if you're interested in the group coaching, my private Facebook group, it's $14.99 a month, which you get so much great information and you can cancel at any time.
It's 3 coffees, right? It's like,
yeah.
Just stop it with the latte and go there. I used to do the fat-free latte because it was the healthy choice. It was the healthy Starbucks choice, which I guess if there's going to be one, a fat-free latte might be the healthy choice because it has protein and lower calories, but it's like, just skip it.
Okay. I have a tip for your one more little piece of confetti because I like Starbucks and I go there, but every time I'm looking at the board, I'm like, okay, that's as much as a whole meal, like some of their holiday drinks.
And now they have to list those calories.
They do. So if you buy a plant-based protein powder, there's one at Costco that's very cheap. And you put a scoop of that into your blender with a cup of coffee and some baking cocoa. There is your chocolate mocha and it's protein style.
Y'all, that's one of her TikTok videos. I saw it.
It's easy and it's delicious. If you get whey, it gets clumpy in your blender, but the plant-based ones are super smooth and it's frothy and it's delicious. Costs less, better value, and way more delicious. And you don't get the sugar crash from all of the syrup that they put. I mean, I'm looking at what do I have now on the creme brulee? I'm like 450 calories for a drink. That's a lot.
Okay, we could go for hours. We might have to do more Facebook Lives because we could just continue to have these conversations about, so why are we obese? So, thank you. I appreciate you so much. We've already gotten some fabulous comments and some fabulous feedback on the energy on the podcast. So we'll have to do some more and maybe we'll do an Instagram live soon. Or I don't know how we do it on TikTok. I'm still learning. I'm getting over there.
We'll get there.
Have a fabulous day, Pam. Thank you all for joining us and leave some comments and find us on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. Have a great one. Bye.
Thanks.